Hello and welcome back to Can We Talk with Juel, the only podcast with world events come served with holy water, caffeine, and a side of, Chow, what did I just read? We are proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries, where we mix faith, fundraising, and the side of what is going on, guys. Lord, fix it. So, guys, I'm excited to jump into this week's episode. Apparently, I've been informed that I am waking up the masses so much so that you all will surely be placed on a watch list. So hold on to your lattes. And let's dive on in. Over in Mississippi, the FBI decided to clean house, literally. They just arrested 14 current and former law enforcement officers, plus 6 of their buddies on drug-related charges. That's right. The same people who say, don't do drugs, were apparently like, but maybe let's sell some? These arrests stretched across multiple cities in the Mississippi Delta. It was less to serve and protect and more to traffic and collect. When your local sheriff starts looking like the plug, you know something's gone terribly wrong in the justice system. And keep that in mind with another story where the U.S. also fought drug trafficking in the Pacific by blowing up 4 boats. 14 traffickers gone, 1 survivor saved, and a defense secretary apparently posted mission accomplished like it was TikTok. Then 2 Navy planes crashed in the South China Sea. Meanwhile, drones can deliver Christmas gifts and Cardi's her album, but apparently still can't land a plane. Trump threatens to start nuclear testing on an equal basis with Russia and China because subtly didn't make the 2025 policy agenda. And yes, the government shutdown is on week 5. SNAP benefits might expire, judges blocked mass layoffs, and somebody's got to answer the phones while Congress decides whose fault it is. Summary: boats explode, planes crash, nukes loom, lunch possibly canceled. If you thought things were messy here at home, wait till you see what's happening overseas. Moving on to international news, where, Mom, the boys are fighting again. South Korea just gave Trump a golden crown right after the No Kings protest. Are they trolling us, or do they know something we don't know? U.S. and China agreed to a 1-year tariff truce, which sounds like something a couple says right before divorce court. Russia showed off a nuclear-capable missile. Putin said, it's a unique and fabulous. Dressed like he's in a Call of Duty DLC. And yes, we are scared, Putin. Israel's Netanyahu accused Hamas of returning the wrong hostage body. Bombing resumed on Tuesday. That ceasefire lasted shorter than a celebrity engagement. ICE detained British analyst Sami Hamdi after his visa disappeared. Same people must have handled our SNAP money. Saudi Arabia went full Silicon Valley on us and dropped the billions on AI data centers. A desert server farm, y'all. Somebody's iCloud is going to melt. Cameroon's president is still in office at 92. His Wi-Fi and his presidency both came before the iPhone. Conclusion: global stability? Who's she? Moving on into the weather, where the earth is given main character energy. 2 earthquakes in the Atlantic shook the Caribbean, and apparently Hurricane Melissa is auditioning for Natural Disaster of the Year. Flash floods, landslides, and Jamaica said we can't even have one chill day. Listen, if your weather app has more red zones than your dating app, it's time to pray and pack. And you guys know what time it is. We're going to roll right into the travel news, my favorite. The update on Jamaica's traveling is Kingston, Norman, Manly, and Ocho Rios Fleming airports reopen October 30th at 7 a.m. Limited emergency consulate services through the 31st, and contact Kingston ACS at state.gov or call 1-888-407-4747. Now, American Airlines is back in the travel news again because they decided to ghost three cities. And for once, it's not about seat rage. They're abandoning flights to Oakland, Louisville, and Albuquerque by next year. That's right, three cities cut off like an unproductive situationship. Word is, your airport needs at least 3 Starbucks, a charging station for emotional support robots, and $18 gummy bears. So, if you're in one of those cities, you're either becoming a road trip influencer or learning how to ride a horse. You choose. And now, if you're 38 weeks pregnant, stay put, ladies. A TikTok mom tried to sneak onto a flight to France at 30 weeks pregnant. Ma'am, that's not a flight. That's labor in row 14B. And Royal Caribbean, not feeling the balcony backflips. 2 teens dangled over a balcony mid-cruise for clout. Now they're banned for life. Friendly reminder, water is free. Stupidity, not so much. And if you're traveling safely, cruises, corporate flights, beach getaways, remember, guys, to book responsibly with me, of course, your travel advisor at fundraisingcup.org/Juel. Over 500, we're going to roll right into health news, where over 500,000 bottles of blood pressure meds were recalled. They might contain cancer-causing chemicals. Yes, you heard that correctly. So in 2025, medication starts sounding like a Netflix thriller. Your prescription can lower your blood pressure and raise your anxiety. Only in 2025 can your prescriptions come with a plot twist. Moral of the story, maybe we just need to return back to natural healing. Grab yourself some beaten pomegranate juice and check your pills like you check texts from exes, prayerfully and with caution. Rolling into religious news, where we have faith, fear, and fabric edition. With that said, that's right, where the world's faith headlines somehow read like rejected movie plots. We have abductions, court battles over worship laws, garment updates, and rising persecutions. American missionary kidnapped in Niger. Courts in Finland and Turkey questioning what religious freedom really means. Iranian Christian freed from prison. And 380 million Christians globally still face high persecution. From Nigeria, where extremist groups continue to wreak havoc, to Sudan, where civil war has turned faith into a front line, it's a sobering reminder that spiritual warfare isn't always metaphorical. Now, in lighter and slightly stranger news, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints just unveiled new sleeveless sacred undergarments. That's right, you heard me correctly. Holy couture is evolving. The tagline practically writes itself, now available in breathable fabrics. Conclusion, pray with your armor on and your sense of humor ready. And that wraps up this week's religious news, where faith meets fashion and freedom still fighting for good PR. And now let's shift gears right into economy news for this week, where the bills are billing. Meanwhile, Amazon, UPS, Nike, Starbucks, and Target are all cutting jobs because apparently AI now makes lattes and delivers them. At this point, Siri's probably interviewing for a regional manager. The government shutdown may cost us $7 billion to $14 billion in GDP losses, mostly from reduced spending. So basically, we shut the country down to save money and ended up losing it anyway? That's like canceling Netflix to save money, but still ordering DoorDash 3 times a week. And while the economy shows us how money moves the world, some people are realizing it's not just the markets being monitored, it's them. Now, don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we've got targeted individual news, where reality meets the twilight zone, and somehow it's still trending. So let's shift gears from financial pressure to personal warfare with this week's targeted individual news. And speaking of people who feel like they're being watched, stalked, and abducted, sometimes the paranoia is actually real. Case in point. Thanks to the U.S. Marshals, Louisiana SVU detectives working with the FBI, a missing 13-year-old girl from Louisiana was just found. Wait for it, stuffed inside a sheet-covered box in a basement. Not in some sci-fi bunker in Area 51, but a degular home in Pennsylvania. Police arrested 26-year-old Kishon Crumity, and yes, this man decided the best place to hide a human being was in a box in the basement, wrapped in a sheet. Sir, if CSI and every Law and Order spinoff haven't taught you that the basement is literally the first place they look, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. But here's the real kicker, guys. If this girl hadn't been found, she might have become one of those, you got it, missing persons posters we scroll past. Or worse, a TikTok conspiracy hotspot. So sometimes maybe the TI folks and the true crime junkies are onto something. Because if we've got kidnappers out there with do-it-yourself storage units and zero creativity, we might need a little paranoia to balance things back out. But thank you to everyone who continues to reach out to me and fundraisingcup.org ministries, bravely sharing your stories. Your courage matters. And we've compiled a resource document for you all with fundraisingcup.org to help you navigate what many of you are facing as targeted individuals, including gang stalking, predatory behavior, and both spiritual and physical forms of directed energy weapons, also known as DO attacks. Last week, we shared the FBI accomplishments with Operation Lightning Bug. What we didn't mention is one of their major discoveries, guys. Many victims were betrayed by people they knew and trust. Yes, family and friends. This means the idea that a random stranger is solely behind these targeting events may not always be the case. For many targeted individuals, it appears there was a financial exchange or incentive involving someone very close to them. Remember, some targeted individuals may unknowingly be listed for observation or non-consensual experimentation. Organizations like Targeted Justice, big shout out to them, are on the front lines every single day, guys, advocating for targeted individual rights and awareness. Please stay vigilant about whom you share personal information with, TIs. In some cases, false reports or manipulated court documents are being used to discredit victims by labeling them as mentally unwell, a tactic designed to silence or confuse. Protect your energy, your documents, and your peace, ladies and gentlemen, at this time. And trust the process. It's a syndicated network, people. In the meantime, continue recording and especially notate any large purchases of individuals targeting you. Now, deep breath. Because we're heading into random thoughts. Because even TIs among us need a laugh before the next headline hits. We're in a simulation, guys, and the Wi-Fi's bad. Hear me out. The U.S. just sold TikTok to new American owners, and Trump's gonna consummate the deal in South Korea. Yes, he actually used that word. Somebody revoke his thesaurus, please. No, sir, not consummate. And speaking of unexpected gospel blessings, so apparently Justin Bieber has been hopping on live streams lately, not to drop a new single, but to drop some scripture.
God says you are. You
Yes,
know what I
he's
mean?
been
I
sharing
don't
his
have to
Christian
worship.
faith
Jesus
and
is God.
discussing
You know what
gospel
I mean?
principles
I
with
believe he
friends
loved us so much
online.
he put on
And
skin and
honestly,
bones
I love that
and
for
came
him.
in
Because
under
if
this
Bieber
earth
can
as a
turn a
person,
live
as a
stream into
human.
a sermon, maybe
He
there's
his
hope for us
descendants died
all
so
who
that
can
we don't have to
barely
be focused on our
turn
sin
our Zoom cameras on
because none
without
of us
saying, Lord, give
can
me strength.
do.
And Kim Kardashian reportedly told Sarah Paulson that the 1969 moon landing was fake. Because, of course, when NASA spent billions sending men to the moon, Kim's like, but did they slay? And really, have they had the right lighting, though? No, no jokes aside. Apparently, she centers on conspiracies with many of our supporters and should definitely check out our fellow podcaster, Thomas Lillard's show, The Hidden Frequencies, each week, because we all are starting to question what's really going on. A YouTuber named Mr. Crafty Pants got caught in a scandal. That's all I'll say, because ain't nothing crafty about that crime. And in Mississippi, there's a monkey with COVID and STIs on the loose. The sheriff says it's aggressive. I'm calling it Gulf Coast, Florida energy. And the NBA gambling scandal apparently involves ex-NFL players now. This plot got even more crossover episodes than the Marvel Universe. And then we have people online starting to argue over this Mandela effect, that collective brain glitch, which I can't lie, I find it somewhat interesting, about whether blood is blue or red before
What color
oxygen
is
hits
blood?
it.
But more
Apparently, our
specifically,
whole
what color is blood
generation
while
was
it's
taught
still in your
it was
veins?
blue. But
Because most of your
now
comments were going to
Google,
be red,
AI, and
but I
local
guarantee you
educators
there's an
are all
overwhelming
like,
majority
that
that
never
are now
happened.
commenting blue,
So either
because
we've
that's the way
entered
some
a
of us were
glitch in the
taught.
matrix,
And if we
or
head over to
someone's
Reddit, they're talking about
rewriting the
this
science
exact
book
thing. Blue
mid-download.
blood turning red.
Either way, folks,
I
if
don't
you're
know if this has
bleeding,
been
it's
mentioned
not the
here, but I
time
remember
for the
being
color
taught
debate.
that blood is
Pray and
blue,
call
but turns red
911.
when it is oxygenated.
And my favorite headline, Albania appointed an AI minister named Delia to fight corruption. Lord, we're getting replaced by algorithms and also accused by them. But seriously, this past week, we've been watching this country split into the haves and the have-nots, and maybe some entitles over this whole snap thing. And while everyone's busy pointing fingers and igniting unnecessary personal wars, I want to hit the pause button, guys, and remind all of us something far heavier. Next month, innocent children here in America could be going hungry, while the U.S. is handing nearly $14.7 billion and counting, yes, you heard that right, in military aid to Israel in 2025. If we can't feed our own house, what the heck are we doing outside? Who said that? Let that sink in and maybe swelter a little, ladies and gentlemen. Your complimentary public service announcement brought to you by Random Thoughts with Juel. Meanwhile, retailers and families are panicking, food banks are overwhelmed, lawsuits are flying from state to government. And King Trump? Well, he's out here dancing in Malaysia. If that isn't the metaphor for 2025, I don't know what is. Whew. Let's thank the Lord for the judge's recent decision in preventing mass hysteria with the emergency stimulus, because I was this close to building my very own underground Walmart bunker to escape the madness. And finally, there's this new humanoid home robot called Neo. Price tag around $20,000, designed to handle your household chores and double as a conversational AI assistant. Basically, it cleans, talks, and probably judges you for reheating the pizza again. They're saying pre-orders are open now and deliveries start in the U.S. in 2026, which means in about a year and a half, some of us will be arguing with our robots about who left the dishes in the sink. At this rate, I'm just hoping for Neo not to start a podcast and steal my mic. Then I have officially seen it all. All right, before Neo the robot tries to replace me completely, let's check in with some real human opinions, because it's time to see what you all had to say in this week's poll. Poll break. And the people have spoken, mostly in emojis, sarcasm, and caffeine, fueled by honesty. Let's see what landed in the headlines of this week's poll. You were asked after last week's What's Going On episode, what's the wildest headline this week? 50% of you crowned Trump's $300 million ballroom as the most unbelievable headline. Apparently, luxury inflation is real because, of course, when the economy's crashing, somebody's adding another chandelier. 40% said Elon Musk not being human, and honestly, we've been suspicious ever since he started launching cars into orbit and glitched out online. We're still waiting on those DNA results, kind of like Barack's birth certificate. Side eye. Who said that? 10% voted for the egg recall apocalypse, proving grocery trauma is forever and still trending. And for American Airlines, 0%. Even the turbulence took a break and said, not today, Satan. Y'all never disappoint. Keep those votes and comments coming because your sarcasm fuels this entire segment. And speaking of y'all never disappointing, last week some of you said you missed the talk. And we are making sure you have a darn good excuse for missing an episode. And the results, well, they are as chaotic as expected. Let's get into it. The question from last week was, why did you miss the talk? And coming at number 4, we've got mentally attending in spirit, which honestly describes half of Congress and most Zoom meetings. Number 3 goes to drowned in reply all threads. That's not just a workplace struggle. That's a national emergency. Number 2, my calendar ghosted me again. And you know it's bad when your Google app has stronger boundaries than your ex. And in the number 1 spot, drum roll please. Yep, you got it. Prioritize urgent over inspired because nothing says modern burnout like choosing panic over purpose. So shout out to everyone who voted, commented, and threw in their 2 cents, or in some cases, a full sermon in the DMs. We see you, we appreciate you, and we're praying for your Wi-Fi and your peace of mind. Whatever your reason for missing the talk, we forgive you. But don't make us start sending calendar invites from heaven. That's all I'm saying. We still have Jesus on the main line. And with that said, let's get back to the headlines that make you question reality because clearly Earth's group chat is still on fire. Woo! And before I forget, shout out to all our listeners, supporters, and fundraisingcup.org Ministries family because in this world of chaos, we still choose faith over fear and laughter over lies. And my closing thoughts. Well, that's your weekly dose of what's going on. I know it feels short-lived, but it's where the news gets messy, but the message stays clear. Keep praying, stay informed, and remember, if AI ever becomes president, I'm simply moving to Wakanda. This is Juel Claxton signing off for Can We Talk with Juel, where news meets nuance and satire meets sanctuary. And remember, it's not paranoia if they're really out to get you. Bye, y'all. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay slightly suspicious. Take care.